it seems like a cliche, but it's like I remember back in the day, we get stories about $700 staplers, $2,000 toilet seats. Regardless of bureaucracy and all the things we've already talked about on a personal level, how does this happen? Are there any rational people left at the Pentagon? Does anyone just say, no, I'm going to get the $25 toilet seat, which is no different than the $700 one? Maybe it's not heated, but somebody's got to be accountable for the people's money.
Yeah, and this was something that I would see, and it because it's true. I mean, not everybody in the Pentagon is, has ill intentions, and I honestly think that most organizations, the bulk of the people are, trying to do things the right way. They're looking at that, like that's what America and Americans are all about. Like it's in our DNA to be innovators and be efficient. Um, but you would get, or we would get, back when I was in, you'd get guidance from the Pentagon saying, cut out inefficiencies, make sure that you're, especially in the last probably 5 years, make sure that you're spending your money appropriately. If something doesn't make sense, get rid of it, be good decision makers. And so you'd get these memos, and they were certainly pushing the message, but somewhere between the five-sided building and the folks on the ground spending the money and making the decisions, it would generally go right back to the way it's always been. Um, Whether it's, and normally it would kind of be in that middle tier, that at least in the Air Force that I would see it, your major commands that would be like, yeah, we know that they said that, but we want you to keep doing things the way it was before. So you'd be kind of banging your head against a wall. But you'd also see, I mean, kind of to touch a little bit back on what we were talking about, I think one of the biggest issues that we have is we have not modernized how we acquire the systems and the things that we need, especially for the military. Like our acquisition system it's just like it's Christmas, right? So it's like when you try and take out your Christmas lights and it's just a big ball of chaos and mess. That's our acquisition process. Whereas, and I'm not a fan of China by any stretch of the imagination, but you have to give them credit where credit is due. Their chain from decision making to purchase is much shorter, and it's much more streamlined. And so that's kind of part of the problem. I think that there are certainly, decision makers and leaders in the Pentagon that want to move a certain direction, but because the system has just gotten so big, and you also have, we talked about, and I just did an article about, kind of the federal employment system where you've got great federal employees, but you got plenty who have been there since the dawn of time, who do very little work, and almost worse, some out there that are roadblocks to progress.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you have something like that, that's how you end up with, instead of buying what we actually need, let's go ahead and keep buying those wrenches. Let's go ahead and keep buying these toilets because that's what we've always done. That's my opinion. Anyway.
I can't believe that the commies are better at this than we are. That they're micromanaging politburos are more efficient than ours. I mean, that's mind-boggling. I think
yeah, I can't remember the general's name, but he was lead of acquisitions just like a few years ago at the Pentagon, and he was highlighting that, how specifically China has gotten so much better at acquiring the military capabilities that they need. That is a big reason why they've outpaced us in some ways.